All right, so like I said, I was going to do a review on the Baker board that has the B2 squared nose and tail with the cool grip tape, which by the way is not that good because the paint creates a kind of a weird, like soft kind of effect, like when you get mud on your board. So it's not that grippy. It's supposed to be mob, which is normally super grippy, but you actually need like some grip gum and other things, or else your foot's just going to be sliding around. I've actually been kind of thrown off this board just going around the turn really sharp and my shoes just slide across. It's kind of weird, but again, this video is mostly just about the shape of the Baker's B2 with the squared nose and tail and extra steep concave and pop. So this board I got in like what, February or something like that. It's definitely got the pop. So the thing that's kind of annoying is the kicks do go up pretty high. So when you're doing nose manuals, which is again is like one of my favorite tricks, instead of just kind of locking in a little bit, you're like, I don't know, it feels like you really have to shift your weight forward, and it's kind of unnatural because you get that like weird mental feeling that your nose is just gonna dig into the ground. So maybe I should have gotten a more mellow board with like the pop. I don't really care too much for like really extreme nose and tail pop, but I do like concave. But it advertised it as being extreme concave. This is about the same as when I got it. And if you look, the concave isn't really that extreme. Like for the most part, for a board, it's kind of still mellow. I wouldn't say it's flat, but it doesn't feel any different than the other Baker boards I've had. Now, I did see the shape at Zoomies that was probably like a 775, and it looked really curved, and the concaveness and all of that was definitely there. But I feel like maybe their machine press or something, they use the same one, and when you get a wider board, it's just kind of expanded, and they don't really adjust and increase the concave and pop and everything like that on a board that's wider, so it doesn't really scale very well, I guess is the term that I would use. Now again, that's not really my problem. Like I don't mind the more mellow concaveness. Again, like I said, the pop, yes, you'll definitely get a good pop, but you're gonna have to really like extend your pop versus like a quick pop. You're gonna really have to push down more. But my big problem with this board, again, I like it. So far, not really any pressure cracks. And I've done some drops off stuff. I'm about 200 pounds. My issue is the squared nose and tail. Now, it's kind of harder to see on this camera, but it goes out farther here. And then this area feels a lot more wide versus like kind of pointy. So I wouldn't say it's like those fishtail boards you see from like the early 90s, but the nose and tail definitely add some weight. And on top of that, you have to relearn and kind of readjust all of your flip tricks and everything. So like, you know, if you're gonna pop a kickflip, instead of just going straight off of it and then it, you know, hitting the edge, because you know the edge starts sooner, like that, you're gonna have to like, instead of just flicking against straight, or else it's gonna hook and do something, you have to like flick your foot more out versus forward. So you kind of have to relearn that, or else like, you know, say you're doing like a half cab flip or something, and instead of it just flicking out fine, your foot may catch it and it may do like a fakie alpha flip and wrap it like a Casper hospital flip, whatever you want to call it. So you really have to readjust your flips. So once you kind of get used to that, which, you know, after a few months, like I'm a little bit better at it, but you know, certain tricks, it's a little different. Instead of just flicking out, you kind of got to flick away, which just messes with your muscle memory, especially after you've been skating a really long time. The other thing is, again, because it's wider, you have that added weight. And if you think about like something that's spinning around, when the weight is more out here versus in the middle, and you're trying to do like a tray flip and spin it around, you know, if the middle of the weight is in the middle and then it's light on the outsides, it's going to be able to spin really easy. Just think about like just whatever type of object, I guess, that you would be using. Kind of like, sounds really cheesy, I can't really think of anything, but like say you're holding an axe. Obviously, if you're holding the very tip of the like a normal way and you swing it, you're going to be able to feel the weight on the edge, and it's going to take more effort. Or if you turn around and you just swing the axe dumb and you're holding the part near the blade, you can easily just move it around towards the end, but obviously you're not going to accomplish anything. So it has this weird, really weird feeling where the weight is on the outside. So when you try to do a tray flip, instead of like the centrifugal force or center of gravity being in the middle and it able to like tuck in and rotate, kind of like you see like a figure skater. Obviously, when they jump in the air and they start to spin, they bring their arms inwards, and so the main center of their weight is just in the middle, where if they had their arms out, that's going to really slow it down and it's going to be swinging them around. So that's how it feels when you're kind of doing tray flips on this board versus a normal board. Is you can really kind of like feel it when you flick the weight on the outside, so like it just spins around more versus just kind of like tucking and rotating. So it doesn't really affect like kick flips and stuff that much, but again, if you're starting to do like 360 shove-its or impossibles and tray flips and stuff like that, it's definitely harder to get around. Not because of the width or anything. I mean, this is an 8.5, but when you are really trying to get it around like that weight just really messes you up, because it feels like the edges of the board are heavier versus the center, like any other board. So the Baker B2 decks, I don't think I would recommend them. If you do like a wide board, like you mostly skate transition and you're doing tail stalls and just riding around, then yeah, this is a good board. If you really like nose slides and tail slides, which I kind of suck at and haven't done much of, that wider nose and tail will probably keep your foot from catching on the ledge. So if you're really into those type of tricks, definitely would be worth checking out. But if you're just doing normal tricks like manuals, nose manuals, and you do a lot of flip tricks, then this board, it's not worth it, because again, you've got to really shift your weight more, and the steep concave that it's advertised at isn't really that steep. Feels like any other board, but the weight issue and having to relearn the tricks and flick off the corner like really out versus forward really messes up a lot of stuff. So subscribe, and maybe I'll have a review on the next deck that I get.